Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Nadia Pierre, and this is my weekly reflection for our Ministry Reach Life of Faith Global Ministry. I wanted to do a weekly reflection before I did my Bible talk session because it reflects the process that I've been through this week and how God is speaking to me. Specifically on this week, one of the questions that I was asking God is, what do you do when a spiritual attack manifests to a physical attack? Meaning, the enemy, there are always situations and circumstances that that could cause you to think, well, maybe I'm under a real life spiritual attack. How sometimes people, they may have dreams and they feel like somebody's trying to choke them, or they feel like there's this presence in the room or whatever it is. So they feel that there's a sense that there's a spirit there that is haunting or trying to get at them. But there are times when spiritual attack is manifested physically. And we see that especially in the case of Job, where Job, the manifestation of a spiritual attack was highlighted when he lost everything. He lost everything. This happened in the, God authorized it, allowed the devil to do what he will with Job, with the exception of taking Job's life. And so everything that was connected to Job was vulnerable to attack. The enemy attacks anything that is a threat or is vulnerable. And so whenever you act as an intercessor, which we see Job, he was acting as an intercessor for his children. Whenever you act as an intercessor, what you do is you place yourself in line of attack. So an intercessor is someone that comes in between as a line of defense, so that whoever they're trying to intercede for will not be hurt or attacked. And so as an intercessor, when we're going out to pray, like we had our Prayer in the Park event, and praying for our city, when the enemy chooses to come at me and attack me as a result of that, that's because I have now placed myself in that position where the enemy is like, okay, well, I need to do something because she is now a threat. And as a result, if I'm not prayed up, if I'm not covered, and even when I'm covered, there are areas of vulnerability. With Job, it was his family, it was his business, it was everything that he had was vulnerable to attack. And then after everything that he had was touched, then his own person was vulnerable to attack. And so we see how a spiritual attack can manifest itself physically. What do you do when that happens? Well, in Job, I think it was Job chapter 1 verses 20. Job chapter 1 verses 20, it said, I think Job, his response to the attack was that he worshiped. And I'm going to go there because I want to read what it says. It is important to understand how you should, what you need to do when you realize that there's an attack on you. And, your response to that attack is very important. So, Job chapter 1, verses 20, we see after Job had lost his family, except with the exception of his wife, after he had lost his children, his servants, and everything, it said that, verse 20, it says, Then Job arose and rent his mantle, shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground and worshipped. And verse 21, and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And so when when there's an attack on your person, when there's an attack on your whatever is attached to you, Job shows us the response that he made before the Lord and before his enemy. He worshiped God and he blessed God in spite of the difficulties that he was experiencing. And so if you're going through a physical attack, if the enemy has manifested itself physically, it is important for you to get in a position of worship. It is important for you to get in a position of worship, because when you do that, what you're letting the enemy know that you first and foremost, that you know who you belong to. You know who you're recognizing and honoring despite what he does. And the enemy, what he does is he tries to get your attention off of God. See, the whole premise for the enemy attacking, for Satan attacking Job, was so that he could get his attention off of God. And God knew Job's heart. And so God allowed the enemy to do that. And so for me, when I went through this attack this week, I specifically had to remind myself why I'm doing what I'm doing, the purpose of it all, and who God is in it. And so if you're going through a spiritual attack that is manifested physically, whether it is in your body, whether it is attacking your family, attacking your finances, attacking your business, and this is a ongoing repetitive thing, get in a place of worship. Get in a place of worship. Get in a state of worship, not just a place. Because when I mean a place, I don't mean just the going to a church and praising God. What I mean is for you to get your mind, your entire being in a place of worship where you recognize God for who he is. Humbling, this is and you may be in a humbling position, but even humble yourself and submit whatever the circumstances are to God, because we know that he is the author and finisher of our faith. And so when we put it back on him, we allow him to take care of the situation. Now, sometimes when we're going through these difficult times, we want to give up. But I want to encourage you, do not give up. That test that you're going through, that attack that you're going through, we want you might want God to deliver you out of it. Sometimes it is God's will for you to go through that attack to prove him, meaning to prove that, you know what, he is my faithful servant. Why do I have to suffer with a sickness? Why do I have to suffer with a disease? Because God knows that you can handle it. God knows that you can handle it. So he gets the glory. He gets the honor. He gets the praise. Sometimes your healing is, your redemption is going through the process. Literally going through the sickness, going through the chemo, going through whatever it is. And you're saying, God, why don't you heal them? Why don't you deliver them? Your deliverance is on the other side of it. And you're saying, well, why not? God is God. He is merciful. Why can't he just take them out of the situation? Sometimes God will allow you to go through these pains. Sometimes God will allow, you to lose that loved one. Sometimes he will allow you to lose that job, to go through the divorce. And not that God brings about these evil things, but he will allow it for his glory. For his glory, because he knows you. He knows you. He knows who you are. He knows who you are. He knows who you are, and he knows what's at the end of it. And so I encourage you, no matter what you're going through, whether it is sickness, disease, physical attack, mental attack, whatever, this spiritual attack that you're facing right now, get in a place of worship. Get in a place of worship. Trust and believe God. Hold on to your faith, because in the end, as the story with Job, in the end, God showed himself mighty and strong. God rewarded God rewarded Job for his faithfulness. He rewarded him. And so remain faithful as you go through it, because God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Diligently seeking him even in the midst of your troubles, in the midst of your trials, in the midst of your tribulation. Diligently seek him. God bless you. I hope this is an encouragement to you, and that it will help you on this week to move forward. God bless.